Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible? When they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you unsatisfied. My name is Chris, and this is my colleague Jack, and we're senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. I hope you found the last one as amazing as we did. And I hope you're all doing well. Jack, how are you doing? Have you recovered from all the energy you put into our great 50th anniversary?
50th anniversary?
Yes,
Jesus.
That is
God.
what I'm going with.
50th anniversary. Okay then. Cool. Apparently I was doing this for a long time before I was even born.
Yeah, you have.
Damn. Yeah, I'm doing okay, thank you very much. Mostly because we all know the real milestone, the really important, is episode 51. Episode 50 is kind of like an ending. Episode 51 now needs to take us and transcend that ending.
Exactly. You have to keep going.
Go above and beyond. Just turn us from the old into the new.
A new era.
And just make everything right again. So, go!
Yes, I will. Just like Marvel did the whole Endgame stuff, the huge showdown, and then perfectly continued onward from there into a new era.
Absolutely gone wrong. It's all over the floor.
Okay, anyway, let's maybe talk about what we're here for, because the rambling part comes at the end.
And what are we here for today?
We are here today for another creature from North America, because I did my last episodes there and I thought, why leave? There's no possible reason to leave America. So let's just stick around there and talk about the Glawackus, which might be something you stumbled over, or maybe not. Sounds like it.
Can you repeat that name?
It's the Glawackus.
The Glawackus. For a second, I thought you said Galapagos.
And not quite.
So I thought, are we Darwin it? The geology's wrong if we're going for the Galapagos.
The most mystical creatures of all, Charles Darwin.
But we're going with Glawackus.
Glawackus, yes. And I can tell you exactly why it's called that, because...
You can have a try.
Yes, it'll make perfect sense in approximately 8 seconds. So
that's what we always say.
It was first seen in Glastonbury, so that's where the Gla comes from.
But
then it was wacky, and us just because, we use proper Latin endings around here, so...
Fair enough, yeah.
All put together, it's Glawackus.
Okay, so I do have one issue so far.
Yes?
Isn't Glastonbury in the UK?
Well, yes, but the US stole a bunch of names from other countries, so...
Really?
There's also a Glastonbury in Connecticut, apparently.
Fair enough. I mean, not fair enough. The UK one is better, but anyway, carry on.
No, of course it is.
It has a festival and everything.
That's what I thought at first. I thought, is this thing roaming the Glastonbury Festival?
Absolutely getting out of its mind on schnapps. Don't you know?
Jeez. Oh god.
Clamping its way in through the week.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you another name it's known as, and you can decide if you want it to be drunk or not. It's known as the Northern Devil Cat.
The Northern Devil Cat.
Yes.
I mean, there might be something wrong. Oh, there is something wrong with me. Over 51 episodes, we've worked out there's something wrong with me.
Oh yes.
But there might be something
much.
wrong with me in the sense of I'm thinking the Northern Devil Cat sounds quite cute.
Well,
am I wrong in thinking that?
Yes and no.
Yes.
I mean, in the same sense that the bear is kind of cute until you're being hunted by it.
Sorry, that really got me. Saying wearing a bear is kind of cute until it's eating you.
Yeah.
Cuteness level just seems to drop quite significantly.
It's quite steady for a while, and then it drops off sharp.
Anyway, carrying on.
Yeah. So it is also one of the newer creatures that we know about, at least in our terms of context. The first sighting that we know of was in 1939, so it's not even 100 years old.
Yeah, I can say that is relatively contemporary. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I thought that you might have heard the name at least is because it's one of the fearsome critters, which is a kind of collection of legendary mythological creatures from the kind of frontier area from the 19th, early 20th century, where lumberjacks kind of exchange stories and all that kind of thing. And from that same collection comes the hide behind, which we have talked about before.
Yeah, I mean, I've not come across them, if I'm perfectly honest, but that's probably more of a safety thing with the higher ups, not giving any one of us too many ridiculous creatures to have to monitor over time.
Yeah, that's
so
fair
maybe,
enough.
I'm guessing they probably split this between the two of us a little bit more.
Might be, yeah. So, this whole collection and all of the creatures popping up over there in the last 100 years or so, it is kind of weird, and it is something we're looking into, like why are there so many new creatures popping up over there? And we haven't really got an answer. Maybe creatures have been, how other creatures have been brought over there on ships and have been invasive in the local not economy.
Local ecosystem, yeah.
Yeah, the ecological system. They really messed up the economy. But yeah, maybe in a similar way, we've got some weird creatures over there, and they crossbred with some other things that were local and created new stuff. I don't know. It's kind of an open question, but something happened in the last 100, 200 years that caused a lot of things to basically pop into existence, which is not a thing that usually happens.
Well, to me, I mean, this is the theory I've always had and always given over to the research guys, and they've given it a bit of thought. They're not 100% on it, but the simple fact of the matter is the US and North America is a new country in the grand scheme of things. And in the sense of kind of colonized countries, shall we say.
Yeah.
And the Native American people tended to be a little bit more not respectable, that's not the right word for that. Tended to be a little bit more wary about going into areas where they didn't need to.
Yeah.
So I personally think a lot of these did exist. They just weren't on anyone's radar.
I guess that checks out.
That's a theory from my side.
Yeah.
That's a theory from my side.
Especially with this one, this kind of checks out. We'll get to that in a minute. So what we're dealing with, you've heard the name, a northern devil cat. So it's basically a cat shaped, but it's very big. It's been described as something between a bear, panther, and lion. So it's a really, really big cat.
Yeah.
Which is not a great thing, because when you're only dealing with house cats, it's easy to forget that they are quite nasty predators, actually. But if you're dealing with bigger ones, that's gonna become a problem pretty soon when you're, food-sized for them.
Dinner-sized child.
Yes. Yeah. And they usually have dark fur. They live in the forest, so they are kind of, blending into the darker colors around there.
Yeah.
And probably the most scary thing about them is the sounds they make, because I don't know if you've ever heard a hyena laugh. It's quite similar to that.
I've watched The Lion King.
Yeah. They do this weird kind of, almost sounds like an evil laugh.
Yeah.
And they partly use that for echolocation, because they're actually blind.
Really? Okay.
So that's also an indication that they might be out hunting you. So when you hear that, it's usually not a great thing.
Ah, okay. So when you start hearing them, you might be on the wrong side of things already.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's probably better than not hearing them, because they're cats. They're very good at sneaking around and ambushing stuff and people. So yeah, it's nice if they give you a warning, I suppose.
Yeah, that way you can get your cotton ball out.
Yeah. So they are blind, but they have, well, it's not eyes, but there's something where the eyes should be. And if they look into your eyes, they can erase parts of your memory. That is the really bad thing. Yes.
And this is confirmed thing. It's not just myth.
It is confirmed. I personally approve of this fact. And kind of depends on how long you have eye contact, how much damage it does. Maybe you just forget the last, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. Maybe you forget your entire life. Maybe you even forget speech and motor functions and everything if you just stare into their face for a while. It's really a wide range.
Okay, so they don't go by halves.
Usually they don't overdo it, but you know, things happen, and we've seen what happens if there's extended eye contact, and it can get very nasty. Like at some point, there's a certain range where it is reversible, or at least partially reversible, and then there's other ranges where there's at least no lasting damage to the brain, and then there's just a section towards the end, which is rare, but basically more or less puts people in a coma because it's just their brain is fried at some point.
Why do they do this? Is it to make their prey easier to catch?
It is partly that. It's several reasons actually. It's partly a stealth mechanism, because if you forget you've seen them, then you're not going to run away from them. So that's one thing they use it for.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the other thing is, if they have the opportunity to just stare into your eyes for a while, or into their prey's eyes, that's going to confuse the victim quite a lot, and makes them easier to catch. So it's kind of a combination of a stealth mechanism, but also sometimes used in a somewhat offensive way.
So it does appear to be like a hunting technique.
Yeah.
It's not that they do this and then they leave you in the middle of the forest with no thought process whatsoever, just laugh as they run away.
No, usually not.
Okay.
It's either for hunting or to just get away from things. You know, just like most wildlife, they don't really want a fight if there's any chance of them getting injured. So if they notice that they have been noticed, they might as well just give you a memory wipe and get out of there.
Yeah.
But
I've seen you. No, you haven't.
Yeah. Basically that. And eye protection does help with that, but there's a compromise.
A little bit like the basilisk kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a certain compromise here, because you can don the like almost welding mask kind of things where you can barely see out of, which you can do in a controlled environment. Like if we have them in an enclosure and it's feeding time or something, you can probably get away with that. But if I get called to deal with one of these out in the wild, then I probably need to be able to see a little bit more than, black. And that's kind of where the issue comes in. We have found that, weirdly enough, these polarized sunglasses work pretty well. It's not complete protection, but it lessens the effect, and it can get you through an encounter most of the time.
Gives you a bit of extra time.
Yeah, it gives you a bit of extra time, and if you then manage to use mirrors instead of direct eye contact, that also lessens the effect.
Yeah.
And we're not quite sure how the mechanism works, but it's something in the electromagnetic spectrum, kind of like light, but something that is very finely tuned to fry parts of your brain.
That's always a concerning thing to hear.
Oh yes. So usually, luckily, we don't have a lot of encounters between humans and these creatures, because they tend to live in the woods. They prefer to be unseen and only maybe eat some deer here or there or something like that. But especially in recent years, there seems to be some kind of changes in the region that I'm not going to pretend I understand the entire ecological mechanisms going on there, but there's been a bit of an increase in forests, but our forests are also more fragmented, and then there's human development encroaching on the forests and logging in the neighboring states, which reduces the forests and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, too long didn't read, is that more and more wildlife is getting pushed into the suburbs and sometimes even cities. So that's something where in recent years we've seen an increase in encounters with these creatures because they've just been, getting into the suburbs, trying to look for food there, look for shelter there. Yeah.
That's concerning.
It is. It very much is. It is concerning because they're physically dangerous, of course, and also there's the amnesia thing. So even if you're not killed, it's gonna cause issues in some way or another.
Does it leave you kind of like a bit discombobulated? A bit like confused?
Definitely. So
so that's obviously going to be more dangerous in built-up areas.
Yeah, that's also what basically led to my encounter with them, because as I'm not gonna name the town here, obviously, but there's small to medium town close to a forest area that was noticing, oh weird, there's a case of amnesia. We don't get that very often, but didn't think any of it first. Then there's another case, third case, and they get a bunch of cases of amnesia of varying degrees in the span of a few weeks, and that's where someone...
Yeah, I mean, that's going to tip us... Yeah. That's going to get our attention, at least, yeah.
Exactly. So someone caught that, and we were alerted, and from that description, we have a pretty good idea of what we're probably dealing with. Forest area, amnesia.
Yeah.
And coupled with the region.
Imps.
Yes, imps. One day we'll do an episode about them, but that is not today.
Will we?
It'll be the last episode.
The last.
Anyway, so we get alerted, and what we usually do is we try to relocate them either into remote forests where there's less danger of encountering humans, or we also have enclosures if there's no practical forest that we can drop them off. And
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, we try usually to catch them while they're conscious, because big cats, and that includes the Glawackus, they often don't deal very well with anesthetics, so there might be complications from sedation, or
most creatures don't do well with being anesthetized.
Yeah, even if it doesn't do any immediate damage, there might be kidney problems later on, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, we usually try to, coax them into a cage while they're being conscious. If that doesn't work, we have to sedate them, and we have stuff available to us that ordinary vets probably don't, but it has the same problems a lot of the time.
We have the good stuff, folks.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got to find something that works on like some ethereal creature from the beyond. You get the really good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's a big dangerous creature, so there's always the backup plan if all else fails, we have a big gun, because they are very dangerous, and if the situation gets out of control, we sometimes have no choice but to put them down to save our lives or other people's lives, depending on the situation.
Certainly.
Yeah. So we were running around in the forest. Basically, a team of 3 was me, Wardens. Was it Wardens, Michaels, and Freeman? And
okay. Yeah, I haven't worked with them for a while.
Yeah. We were out in the woods and, preparing stuff, setting up baits and traps and motion cameras to monitor if something comes into the traps and all of that stuff. And just getting things set up. Mm-hmm. And basically the idea is that I'm kind of the organizing role. Freeman, he has the kind of veterinary specialization, so he tries to come up with sedation strategies that won't
Sedating,
kill the
handling,
creature.
get it done, blah, blah.
Yeah, and Michael's is just a great marksman, and he was there with a big gun just in case.
He always loves it when you just say he was there with a big gun.
Oh, he does.
It's he enjoys being reduced to that one role.
I mean, to be fair,
his entire skill sets were down to a single role.
Yeah. Well, maybe he shouldn't make it the entire personality then if he gets a new rifle. But we probably shouldn't talk about it publicly.
Well, I mean, especially seeing as you hear this, and you're working with him next.
Yep.
I'll put him on the schedule for you.
I'm just kidding. Everything's fine. Don't point the gun at me.
Carry on, anyway.
Anyway, we were doing our thing in the forest, and kind of bordering on the forest on the outskirts of the town was a kind of, what do you call it? Some kind of logistics center, lots of containers, trucks.
Yeah.
Delivering to and from the region, that kind of thing.
Kind of warehouse logistics.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And apparently, somehow, a Glawackus ended up wandering into that thing.
Oh.
And that's
concerning.
And that is concerning, especially because people were working there. And turns out there's this office building attached to it as a kind of, just general management stuff going on.
Admin center, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And it turns out it somehow ended up in this building and killed a person in there. And
okay. I probably shouldn't have been laughing there.
Well, it's not funny, but it's also not funny because
Hey.
in a kind of morbid
Thanks for taking heat on this one.
In a morbid way, people found the victim and called it into emergency services.
Oh god.
And then a couple minutes later, they called in a victim again, and again, and again, and it's always the same victim. And apparently they got, I think if I remember correctly, they got 11 calls about the same victim of an animal attack of some sort.
So, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark, but say, I think I know where it was.
Yep. Was kind of like a nightmare version of 50 First Dates. But, the first time, probably emergency services, it didn't register it, but after a few of these calls, they've told us that something is up, and
I'm surprised they didn't class it as a prank call. But...
yeah, well, it was probably lucky that someone in the know had answered the calls.
Fair.
So we get the message that something is going on and that someone has been killed apparently, and we are close enough, so we pack up our stuff and get there as fast as we can.
Yeah.
Enter the area and enter the building, and it was a very tense situation because these things, they have extremely good hearing, extremely keen sense of smell. There's basically no way that we can surprise it, so we're just kind of very carefully sweeping the rooms, trying to clear the rooms one by one.
Yeah,
trying to close doors where we have been to make sure we kind of do go about this systematically. Then on the second floor, we find the Glawackus sitting in a room, and it's still eating its meal, and it doesn't like being disturbed while eating like most cats. And it was a very, very, very tense standoff for a minute there as it was growling at us. We were standing there like as if we're trying to be cool with our sunglasses, trying not to look directly at it, but also trying to keep an eye on it in case it attacks. And
Jesus.
Yeah. But we're basically standing in the door frame, and the idea is Freeman shoots off the sedation tranquilizer rifle, and we close the door very quickly. That's the best plan we have. So we're moving very slowly. The Glawackus is moving very slowly towards us, and Freeman is lining up the shot. And next thing I know is just I'm running somewhere. I feel my face is burning and kind of wet, and my sunglasses are gone.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you that most of the stuff I'm going to talk about here is I know because I watched security footage later.
Okay.
Because it turns out I had been swiped in the face, and
Makes sense.
how that happened is because unbeknownst to us, there was actually a second cat in the building, which snuck up on us while we were trying to deal with the one that was in that room. And what had happened was that Michaels was at the rear, and basically the other cat pounced on him. He kind of noticed in the last second and shot it basically in the air.
Yeah.
And the shot set off this whole situation into unbelievable chaos. The Glawackus that we were actually looking at just jumped and swiped me in the face, and I got separated from the other two. Michaels was injured in this whole thing and had to be brought out. I recovered some of the memories, and I remember the feeling of being very, very disoriented, very confused when it's like you wake up and you're somewhere completely different. And
I'm not surprised you got boxed and slashed.
Yeah.
And then they took your memory away.
Exactly. And apparently I ran towards the stairs, so I must have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm separated from the others, and I basically get on my radio and try and get a read on what the situation is. But the situation was that Freeman was downstairs. He had brought Michaels out to get out of the way of this creature, and then we basically said, we're going to try to regroup on the first floor and radio silence until then, just so we can be as quiet as possible. So we were both kind of, sneaking along the building, trying to not get killed, and trying to somehow deal with his cat. And then there's another blackout, and suddenly I find myself kind of, heart rate going, very, very slightly panicking. And I kind of remember this thought in my head, well, at least I have a decent sized handgun just in case. And which was about the time that I noticed that my hand was bleeding, and my gun was gone, and it looked very much like I had been ambushed and bitten in the hand. It was very confusing. I was kind of weighing my options, trying to figure out how to get out of there without being killed. At which point I hear the sound of a tranquilizer rifle from downstairs, and then a lot of noise, screams, fighting. So I run downstairs, follow the noise, and get into a room downstairs, and I see the Glawackus basically on top of Freeman. He's kind of like holding the rifle between him and the creature, trying to hold it off somehow, but it's not looking good. He's bleeding profusely. But also
I shouldn't be laughing, but this is just a funny image in my head.
Yeah. I mean, we all made it out, so it's fine, I guess. I also saw the tranquilizer dart sticking out of the side of the Glawackus, so I knew that it was only a matter of time.
Yeah. It's a battle of attrition at this point, yeah.
Yeah, and, Freeman wasn't doing good, so I'm not gonna say it was a good idea, but what I did was basically I just ran and tackled the creature to
Give me a hug.
Get it off of Freeman, and I tried to tried to stay on its back to minimize its ability to kind of get
Close
to
your
me.
eyes, hold on tight.
Yeah. And then I don't really remember that part, but I saw on the security footage, you can see my facial expressions change. Because every now and then it kind of turned its head and managed to look at me for a split second. And
Yeah.
it seems that I forgot that I was on this creature, and I relaxed for the tiniest moment of time until I realized, oh shit, I'm fighting a monster.
Oh god.
You know, re-strengthening my grip, and it didn't really go well, but I kind of managed to buy a bit of time, and at some point it threw me off and threw me into a wall, and I was pretty much shaken up, and it got on top of me, which would have been bad, but it was also kind of stumbling, and
yeah, it's kicking in at this point.
yeah, it was kicking in luckily, and you know, if I had been, you know, not concussed and otherwise confused, I probably would have noticed that it was about to fall asleep, but still tried to get on top of me and bite me and all of that, but it was kind of sluggish, and what happened was it basically slowly, very slowly fell asleep on top of me. Kind of too tired and too weak to really do any deep damage.
Couldn't really maul you anymore, but it would just
Yeah.
get some trying to need you.
What it did, or what I did, is that I made a very important contribution to science and our knowledge of this creature, because it turns out that even if you try to close your eyes, when it's very
Yes.
close, its memory wiping powers it goes through your eyelids. Like bright light you still see even if you have your eyes closed. And
So it's
if
almost a psychic thing rather than a visual thing.
yeah, I guess. I mean,
Oh,
as I'm
mental
saying,
thing.
even with light, part of it still goes through your eyelids. So I guess
Yeah.
that's what's happening there. And
Yeah,
it
makes
was
sense.
basically right in my face. It was just staring at me as it was falling asleep very angrily. And I think I lost about 3 weeks or something there. I woke up a little bit later, and I was very confused why there was this huge creature on top of me and why everything hurts.
Worst part about that whole situation is having to do the health and safety training again.
Yes. and the rabies shots, but it was at this point Freeman had kind of cobbled himself together and was helping me get this creature off of me, and
Yeah.
Michael's had called in support to, you know,
Get
deal
the
with
one.
our injuries, deal with getting that creature into a cage and ship it off, all of that kind of stuff. But it was a very close call.
I assume they also dealt with the second one?
Yeah, that the second one was not to be saved. It had gotten
Oh.
it was shot by
Freeman
the
had got the shot off. Yeah.
BFG, and there was really no helping it anyway. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's how I almost died again.
See, you have a go at me for being bait, but
Well,
so far I haven't almost died.
I wasn't being bait on purpose.
That's where you're going wrong.
Yeah,
That's what I keep telling you. That's where you're going wrong.
Yeah, you gotta commit.
If you're bait
You're
on
right.
if you're bait on purpose, you're in control, man.
That's
you're
true.
in the driving seat.
I have so much to learn from you.
You run everything. Sorry,
Yeah.
you run everywhere.
Yeah. But speaking of running, what would you recommend people run towards if they want to, you know, be bait? I don't know where this is going. Just do the bit.
I'm not sure either, but
It sounded better in my head.
probably did. I would say they should run towards the description of these show notes.
Yes.
Because that is where they can find a link
Treasures.
to the Blinking Your Mythic Discord, where you can join a bunch of other people and join in conversations, start conversations, ask questions, do many, many different things. All the different things you can do on Discord.
Engagement.
Talk on voice channels, talk on video channels, all these wonderful things. and ask lots and lots of questions, maybe even suggest episodes, because between Chris and I, we have seen pretty much every single creature, or we get to send
Every
to
single
see the
one.
new creatures prior to everyone else. We are the senior wardens of the CCI, which probably tells you something about the turnover rate at the CCI.
Don't tell them that. We're never gonna get new recruits if we talk like that.
They're joining Discord, they're probably not going to be new recruits.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, is that
They've
insulting? Do I have to
They're
cut
aware.
that out?
No, I mean it as in they are aware, they get the idea it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
The training's pitiful. No, actually, it's wonderful.
It is fantastic. It is definitely not horrible.
But at the same time, while they're on their Discord, what could they be doing? What kind of things could they be doing to maybe, I don't know, listen to something? Multitask while they're doing it.
Ooh. Well, one thing you can do is look through our back catalog, because this is episode 51, so there's at least 50 chances for you to find the creature of your dreams and listen to everything we know about it. There's no real continuity or anything, so just go nuts, find the creature you're interested in, and click the play button and listen to your heart's content. Leave it running while you're away from a computer because it looks good in our statistics. And
you don't actually have to hear, you just have to play.
Exactly. And while you're doing that, also click on the stars and give us a good rating, because we like to eat these ratings for breakfast. We don't get anything else to eat at the CCI.
We're low on funds.
Yes, we are.
Give us dinner.
Also,
Give us dinner and ratings.
Dinner and ratings, and maybe comments, because, engagement. That's the age we live in, the age of engagement, and we need your engagement everywhere. We need your engagement all over us. And while you are engaging all over us...
Let's go for an engagement party!
Yes. Just drop your keys in the bowl. But speaking of sharing, you should probably also share this podcast with everyone you know. You don't understand. I can see Jack's camera, and I think he's dying. He has given up on this podcast, I think.
It was a good run.
It was a good run. But, even after we are cancelled, you can probably still listen to our old episodes, so share them with everyone you know, everyone you love, everyone you hate, everyone you're kind of indifferent about, because, people we don't know are just enemies we haven't made yet.
Excellent. Enemies we haven't made yet. But,
yes.
Yeah, unless there's anything else really to say, I think that's about it.
I think we should have said a lot less.
So do the ratings.
Exactly. So,
fair enough.
In that sense, in that manner, goodbye.
Goodbye. What an end.